What's going on, guys? CE420. I want to talk about something to you guys today. What is that? What do I want to talk about? Well, I want to get into something that I have been doing almost since the beginning of my growing career, which is pheno hunting. What is it? How do you do it? What are the best strategies to go ahead and tackle this issue? Now, as for what pheno hunting is, it's basically finding a plant that is a very specific expression of a strain that you are growing. For example, if you have, let's say, a wedding cake, because this is one I want to do a pheno hunt on. If you have a wedding cake and one is super vanilla-y and just creamy and it's there. It is potent, it is there, it's what you're looking for, and the nugs are super dense and kind of spaced out, but they're all super big and dense. And on the other side, you have another wedding cake where the stacks are really close together, the buds are absolutely huge, but it creates a lot of congestion for that growth structure, and then you lose it to bud rot. These are two very different things that I had to deal with in the past, and honestly, the wedding cake that got the bud rot, I smoked its mother, and I don't know if I grew it wrong, I don't know what the fuck happened, but it was not super great. I was very unimpressed. I was very happy that the other pheno came through and was very flavorful and just attacked everything I needed in every avenue. But how are we going to recreate that? How are we going to keep those genetics around? How are we as growers going to conserve what we love? That's an important thing for me, and I hope it's an important thing to you because it's what we're getting into today. So how do you actually go about a pheno hunt? What are your first steps? Well, personally, you can either do this with feminized or you can do it with regular seeds. Personally, I've done it with regular or feminized seeds, and I plan to do it with regular seeds in the future. But that is specifically for breeding reasons. I'm going to want to breed. I want to stabilize genetics as much as I possibly can, just to get super specific phenos and have many seeds of them. And that's for a reason we'll probably talk about later in the video. I started with feminized seeds. What I would do when I go into an actual pheno hunt is I would pop a couple, let's say 2 or 3. You don't need to go crazy. You don't need to pop 5 seeds. You don't need to pop 15. You don't even need to pop 100. All you need to do an effective pheno hunt is to get the different genetic expressions from the same geno. So if we're looking at it, the geno is the wedding cake. All right, that's up here. The phenos all branch down in different directions, and you will have different wedding cakes. The wedding cake that you smoke that your grandma grew is not the same wedding cake that Uncle Bob is growing down the road, unless, of course, he got it cut. I would pop these seeds. I would put them through a veg stage. I would get probably right before the point where I want to flip, probably 2 weeks before. I would do a heavy defoliation, and from the bottom of the plant, I would start taking clones. This is going to be your first round of clones. And you're going to label them, all of the clones, from the first plant as 1. Pheno 1. Every single clone is labeled Pheno 1. The plants from Pheno 2 are all labeled Pheno 2. Plants for number 3, clones from number 3, all labeled pheno number 3. That's going to be very important for later. Now, while these clones are going through the rooting process, you're going to be flipping into early flower it should be right after you transplant them into a solo cup, is right around the time you're going to be flipping into flower. Now, the reason you flip into flower and have such young clones is because you don't want to waste all the time and effort and money on these clones when you don't know what the mother plants are going to end up like, but you can't take clones from a flower plant because that's too stressful, assuming your plant limit allows it, which is something I go over in a podcast that I talked about, but I don't need to do that personally. So if you guys want a video specifically on your plant limit, leave your plant limit down below, and I will talk about the theoretical strategy that I would go through to try to achieve the pheno hunt results. While your plants are going through flower, your clones are going to be going through veg stage. You are going to see a lot of the same characteristics from the mother plant show up in your clones. This is going to be an important point, I would say week 3 or 4 of veg, where you're going to be wanting to kill off the clones that are weakest, and also looking towards the mother plants to assess their bud structure and flavor, frost output, whatever it is you're specifically looking for in a mother plant, based on what you assume the final product is going to seem like. And if you've been through a grow cycle, you kind of know what to expect. And hopefully from week 4 to 6 in the flower stage, there aren't dramatic differences in the flavor profile, the potency, the trichome density, all that good stuff. You should be able to tell pretty early on. And from there, you will be able to make a pretty definitive decision as to what phenos you want to keep. And then when you find a pheno you want to keep, you just clone that pheno and keep it around. And if you want to find a second pheno that you might want to potentially keep around, all you have to do is pop more seeds, repeat the process, and then finish off the plants. Now, I do want to caution you not to kill your plants too early. Do not kill your clones too early. Don't kill your mothers too early. I always like to emphasize that I judge personally off the final product. I can deal with almost any grow structure, any type of expression that plant wants to put out, but at the same time, I'm an extremely stubborn grower and I'll put up with almost anything to get a final product out of something. And if something is giving a reasonably difficult time of growth, either its growth rate is pretty low or it's throwing out stuff in an undesirable manner, if its growth structure isn't full or it is seeming like a male plant, those are all signs that someone might want to throw that plant out. However, when I look at stuff like that, I think if I speculate that this plant is going to be garbage and I throw it out, I could be missing out on some of the best bud I have ever had, and that is the results that I've had throughout my entire grow. Now, there's obviously been beautiful plants that are very well structured and all that good stuff that put out really good product, but those ones that are a pain in the A, sometimes I really get the best bud out of those. One example is G13. Another example is Wedding Cake, like I said, but that plant I thought was male because of its strong structure. It turned out to be female. G13, it shot out a bunch of branches every which way. They were all super skinny, but that didn't keep the nugs from getting really big. Pink Tsunami, low yielder, small buds, but if I would have thrown it out, I would have never been able to appreciate the bud of a Pink Tsunami. So stay vigilant, stay patient, kick ass at pheno hunting. If you guys have any other tips or recommendations or something I missed, leave it down in the comment section below. I appreciate all your comments. If you liked this video and it helped you, please leave a like, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you very much.